So good evening. I'm going to tie a fly tonight I'm really excited about. And it is the cicada. And I happen to have a few left from 2004. They're a little desiccated, so you can see about the size and the darkness and sort of the underbelly. Of course, that's what the trout and the bass really see. So just figured I'd show you that first, and then we're going to go ahead and jump in and tie my pattern for this. First of all, the hook, like a 7999 Tiemco, or you can use an 8089 bass hook. Size 10 if you use the bass hook, size 6 for the 7999. That's a 67999. The reason I like the salmon fly hook is I really want something heavy. You know, you could catch the biggest bass or trout you've ever caught on a cicada because they only see them every 17 years. So when they get feeding on them, they can really get feeding on them. Not to mention the fact that carp will take them, or just about anything else. So we're just starting with UTC 140 here. We're going to use a piece of black foam. This is 6mm black foam. This stuff is nice and heavy fly foam. This one was a hairline. I really like this stuff because it's hard. It doesn't like compress as much, and the thread has a harder time cutting it. Now prepping this is part of the trick here. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut from about the middle of the piece. The piece is, just for reference, let me grab a ruler here real quickly. I got my calipers. You know, this piece is just a shade over an inch long for the body, right around an inch for the body. The total fly is closer to maybe 1 3/4 inches once the wings are attached. But so cut yourself a piece about that long and about, what do we got here? 10mm, 3/4, like maybe, a third of an inch or something like that, right? 24, what do I got? 24/64 here, whatever that would be. But 10mm, however you want to do it. So at any rate, take about halfway up the foam, cut back towards what's going to be the tail at an angle, and you're going to kind of come to a point back there because they're ovipositor sharp. You can take a look at that. And then what I do is I actually go from the bottom and cut so that I've got sort of a taper there. Hopefully you can see that taper. You don't have to be real clean with this because you're going to wrap some stuff around it, but, you know, clean it up just a little bit. Then I like to take, you don't actually have to do this, but I like to just round the head out a little bit by taking the corners off. A good pair of sharp scissors helps with this a lot. And so there you've got kind of the basic form of the body. Get a good look at that. And then what I'm going to do is take a double-edged or whatever razor blade you happen to have in the house, and I'm going to cut a slit on the bottom about halfway through, right down the middle, and about halfway through the body. Maybe just a little bit less than halfway through, like so. You can see there about how far I'm in. And that is going to go on your hook here. Now, the next piece of this is kind of interesting, and I think the thing I do with it might be different than anybody else's. I actually use some fly line backing. Got some ancient old 20-pound bright orange, hot orange fly line backing. I just cut a piece about 6 inches off, maybe 8 inches off. I'm going to tie that in now, right? So I've already tied in on the black thread. And I don't really care how sloppy I am with this because it's going to get covered with glue and foam for the tie-in. And I'm going to tie that back to just about where the bend of the hook starts. Then come back up. If you're using the salmon fly hook, you can stop just where the two pieces of wire come back together. That's going to give you enough for the head, a little bit behind that, but just about right. So give yourself about 1/3 up here and about 2/3 back here. Now I'm going to coat that with zap-a-gap ahead of time here, just a little bit. Get a good coat on there, like so. I'm going to take that split that I just created, make sure that thing's right down the middle, and if it's not, just give yourself just a little bit more, because again, you're just going to wrap around this anyway. Make sure you got it just the way you want it. And I usually start at the start, so I put the split on the hook eye and then push it down all the way to the back, like so, and just make sure it's on there nice and sturdy. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my black thread and give it one kind of gentle wrap, a little bit more firm, and then a third one, and then tighten down a little bit on that. So now I got a really nice profile for my fly. I'm kind of set up for the next part, which is just making the segmentation. These things are really segmented. You'll see it when you see the real ones. And you know, this might be, well, I'm 48 this year, so I might be 65 when you're watching this video the next time and getting ready for the, what it would be, 2028. No, I'm sorry, 2038 cicada hatch. But right now we're ready for the 2021. So I want to get about 5-6 segments, good segments. Keep them nice and evenly spaced as you can. Remember, the fish always see from the bottom. Better to make the bottom right than the top. Top is not nearly as important. That's the part you see, not the part the fish sees, right? So now I got this nice kind of segmented body. You can take a look at that again. Right? And I probably could mess around and spread those segments a little more evenly if I wanted to, but these fish are not going to be picky when they're eating something this big. This is a huge meal for them, kind of right off the bat. Now comes the next part, the fun part, the wing. Now this is a big fly, guys, and I like the wings to be spread. The bugs, when they're on the water, they kind of hit the water and they buzz around like this, and you want to get some wing on the side. So all I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to take some black crystal flash and maybe call it 12 to 15 strands, something like that. Better than 10, less than 20. And I'm going to pull that around, and I'm just going to, I'll do this side so you can see a little bit better. Just going to set it. It's going to be about 1/4 of it, maybe a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch past the back of the abdomen. And then I'll just pull that down, and you'll see it's going to flare out a little bit to the side. Don't worry, it flares more than you'll want, but the next piece will be a piece of deer hair that'll kind of reel that in a little bit. And now, because I did that side first, I'll have to actually lay this side in, but just to match that side, and put it on here and wrap that down. And now I've got both sides of the bug. This thing will twist leaders, so use at least 2x, maybe more. Fish are not going to be picky. Again, it's a big old meal. They're not going to see, they see a good number of these, but it's not like they're sitting in the middle of a sulfur hatch picking, you know, out of 100 bugs as they come down the river. They're going to be opportunistic and they're going to hit it. Next thing I'm going to do is a piece of orange bucktail. Now I like to use kind of this piece in here. If you look, I want to get a little bit of that brown and a little bit of the orange, and that's going to balance out your wing a bit. And this is, again, not real thick here. You want this kind of thin. You're going to do one for each side. So I'm going to cut a piece off. I got my little stacker here ready to go. That's actually a little too much, but we'll thin out the bottom, pick out some of the tops, and yeah, that's about right there. You're going to get a nice wing out of that. And then I'm just going to throw that in the stacker and even up the tips. These are a pretty substantial, pretty robust wing. This is the one I showed you. We'll just take a look at that again real quick, right? Look at those wings. Those are solid wings, right? And you'll see when they're alive, they're real like cellophane and bright orange, and there's a little black to them. And, you want those to just stand out real strong. Now all I'm going to do is going to lay that piece of deer bucktail down, match it up about to the end of the crystal flash, and then I'm just going to catch it, put 1, 2, 3 wraps around that, and you can see that's going to taper my wing back a little bit more than the crystal flash side. And then we'll do the same. Oh, sorry about that. One more time. Have that ready to go. Just a minute. Get your clump just right. There's no perfect answer to this, but you kind of get a feel for what's going to be fishable. You don't want to put too much wing on there. You don't want to put too little wing on there. You can see it's a pretty significant wing, and when they're on the water, they're trying desperately to get off of it and flopping around. And there again, another look at that. So we'll get a pretty even. I'll stand this up. You can watch me tie it from that angle. Just lay that right down over that crystal flash. match it up, 1, 2, and 3. And you can see I've still got a nice even look to that bug. Now, the next part's kind of cool. Take your sharp scissors, come in at the angle of the head here and just cut this off, but don't cut it all the way. You can see I left maybe 1/8 of an inch or so of that fur on there. And now we've got those sort of set up. Now the cool thing I do with this is these guys have really red eyes. I just use that bucktail to my advantage. Take a red Sharpie and I just touch the tips of that with that red Sharpie, and I get a little red eye out of this. And now they're not keen on the eyes, guys. Like, they're keen on that segmentation of the body and those big wings, right? Like, this is a big bug. They're not looking to see whether it's got eyes or it doesn't have eyes, but I like that little bit of red. Now, last part, get some rubber legs, something segmented, something orange, preferably. You probably get away with just about anything. Just pull those on there. You want them kind of matched up. You know, bugs have 6 legs, but trout don't know how many butt legs a bug has. You can just throw 4 on so it's balanced. Pull that into the middle like that, right? Get those all kind of where they're at. Just position them nice. Pull down tight on that. They'll stand up just a little bit. And then you can just cut them. You cut them pretty short. Like this, these guys they got strong legs, but they're not crawling when they're on the water. You just want the kind of illusion of there being legs there. It's the wings and the segmentation that are going to stand out. But you can see that's kind of a cool effect, right? He's got his little legs. They're going to be sinking. They'll be under the water. He'll be fighting for his life under there, right? And then you're just going to, whip finish, or in my case, I tend to just use half hitches. I'm going to throw 2 or 3 on there. Well, probably 3 or 4 anyway. 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, tighten that down just one more time. Clip that off. You can see it's just a cool looking little fly. You got the eyes, you got the legs, you got the wings. I'm going to take some water-based cement. You just got to watch that whatever you use here doesn't react with the super glue. So I usually use a water base. You don't want to react with the super glue, and you don't want it to react with the permanent marker either, right? So you just kind of put a little water base on there, nice and solid. And you got a really strong fly, good solid hook. And that's my cicada. It's 2021, and hopefully I'll be here 17 years from now to fish it the next time around. But they're just starting. It's the last week of May. That's important here in Pennsylvania. If you're going to fish the Juniata, you can kind of expect them around the last week of May, as long as you got a good warm spring, which we've had a pretty good warm couple of last week or so. It's been about 80 degrees. So if you were going to want to be sure about it, I would say go hit the first week of June. But at any rate, enjoy it, and hopefully this will help you this summer. If not, see you in 17 years.